Alrighty, well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Mia Marshall. I am the Assistant Director of Alumni Engagement for the University of Toledo Alumni Office. Today's virtual conversation is an opportunity to hear from Dean Ray Witte, who is the Dean of the Judith College of Education. A few housekeeping things for this morning's conversation. I wanted to let all of you know recorded. We do have everyone's cameras turned off and everyone is muted. However, we will open up the conversation after the Dean's remarks. So you'll be able to unmute and turn your camera on if you wish to do so and ask questions, comments, or just address the group directly. And now I would like to introduce to you Dean Ray Witte. Dr. Ray Witte began his appointment as the Dean of the Judith College of Education in July of 2018. He came from Miami University, where he was a professor and chair of the Department of Educational Psychology. With the University of Kentucky, Ray began his career in education as a school psychologist, and it is now my pleasure to introduce to you Dean Witte.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy you could join us. Hopefully you've received your wonderful little package in the mail, the coffee that hopefully goes with the event, as well as the college mug, and I believe a tasty little cookie could have been part of that deal as well. So what I'd like to do is just have hopefully just a enjoyable morning conversation with everyone. We do have some information that we'll cover. Realize that information will be available to you, so don't feel like you have to write anything down. If you choose to, that's fine, but just rest assured that we will get the talking points that I will use to you if you're interested. So once again, thank you for coming. What I'd like to do right now is to kind of start our conversation off with a short video highlight of Judy Herb. She's obviously been so important for the college. We wanted to put something together and they have done an outstanding job. So if you could watch, I guess, the screen that will appear for the video and enjoy. There's sound. Yeah, there's no sound.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I apologize for that.
Angelo said,
There we go.
whenever I make a decision with an open heart, I always seem to make the right choice.
Judy Herb grew up in the heart of West Toledo, knowing always that she wanted to be a teacher. Her lifelong love for learning was especially
I apologize, guys. I'm trying to figure out the best way to share this with you so you can hear it okay. Okay, we might have to play the video at the end. I apologize. Ray, I'm going to let you move on while I continue to troubleshoot.
That's perfectly fine. You know, technology is a wonderful thing when it works, so we will get it to work, I'm sure. What I'd like to do is obviously ask Judy to provide a few words to kind of start off our conversation this morning. So, Judy, would you?
I finally got on.
That's great.
Finally.
Well, welcome. And the group would love to hear from you as we kind of start off our conversation. So if you could share a few words, that would be great.
Well, I'm just so delighted to be involved with this event, and I think it's exciting to think that this is something that we will hopefully have the opportunity to work with in the future as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm a little rattled because I couldn't get on, and I finally did. But my viewing is not very good. So I don't see Ray, I don't see Samantha, and I don't know who else is available, but I do see my dear friend Jeanette, and it's so great to see you. But you know, I am so thrilled that one of my scholars is here. Jeanette received the Judith Herb College of Education scholarship. Jeanette is from Immokalee, Florida, which is about 25, 30 miles away from Naples, where I spend my winters. And truthfully, I got involved there with a wonderful program at Guadalupe Center, and I met Jeanette's brother. He told me that his sister was about to graduate, and I said, well, could I meet her? Would she be interested in looking at the University of Toledo and the College of Education? And he says, well, she wants to come back and she wants to work with children in our community. So I had this wonderful, wonderful opportunity to meet with her. I met her family, and believe it or not, she was so willing to come to cold Toledo from a warm Immokalee and take a look. And she liked what she saw, and she received the Judith Herb College of Education scholarship. And she is now a junior, and she's fit right in. She's taken hold. She's taken responsibility for some opportunities to work with Hispanic students from that are at the college there, and I am so proud of her. But scholarships are amazing, and they impact lives, and it's transformational for some of these young people. So we have another student at the college, but not in education, but at the college, who is also from, and she's just a freshman this year, but we're hoping that this will start a flow, a parade of people that will come to our college and to our university.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. I'm sorry that you can't see me. I'll turn my video on and wave. So for those of you on the call that are not aware, the University of Toledo Herb Scholars Program is the most prestigious scholarship that is awarded by the college. Judy and her family, in partnership with the University of Toledo, recognize and encourage and support teachers of the future as they make their way into the classrooms, and will participate in activities throughout their education that will deepen their leadership skills and offer opportunities for undergraduate research in areas of education. So we were so pleased with the partnership and cannot thank Judy enough for her support throughout the years and the support of these absolutely fantastic student scholarship recipients. So now I'm so excited. As Judy mentioned, there are 2 students with us today who are recipients of the HERB Scholarship. We have Chad and Jeanette who are on the call with us, and they're going to share briefly about how the scholarship has made an impact on their lives and hopefully share a little bit briefly about their education. So if I can, I would like to open up the floor for Chad. Chad, are you on the call? All right, let's go with Jeanette.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi, and see you.
Okay. So my name is Jeanette. As Ms. Judy mentioned, I am from Immokalee, Florida. So coming to the University of Toledo was very, it's truly an honor to be here. I was honestly really scared to like leave home because I didn't know the area. I didn't have, like, everything was just truly new to me. But I started early in the summer with the multicultural summer program, and that also really helped me adjust to the environment, get to know people, get to meet the staff, even though I had already met a few wonderful staff members like Dr. Span, and it was just a welcoming environment. And I was like, this is a place for me, and I'm glad I made the decision to come here. And the scholarship has really made an impact on my life. I wasn't even thinking of going out of state, and when I met with Ms. Judy, it was just something like that opened my eyes, and I was like, this is a wonderful opportunity. And my parents were a little bit hesitant, but once they realized like this doesn't come to everybody, and you were chosen to do this, so we're going to support you. And along with my siblings, my brother who's on the call right now, they were all very supportive. Until this day, they still are. And thankfully for the scholarship, I have been getting the full college experience, living on campus for 4 years. I am a junior, so this is my 3rd year, and so far, I feel like if I didn't come to Toledo, I wouldn't be as involved as I am right now, and I would probably be back home commuting and not being involved as much as I am with the organizations right now. I did take, when my freshman year, I was president of an organization. So as soon as I got here, they brought me into the organization. I was in it for 2 years. I was president for 2 years. And after that, I joined a Latino co-ed fraternity, and I am now president for that. So truly, if I wasn't here, I probably wouldn't be holding all these leadership positions. And it really, it's just been a great experience so far for me.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. We are so excited to have you at the University of Toledo, and I loved how you mentioned how your mom was not extremely excited about you leaving, because I live within 20 miles of my mother, and I hear it every day. And I graduated a decade ago, and she still won't let me leave.
Hey, Samantha, I figured out how to unmute myself. This is Chad.
Hi, Chad.
Hi, how you doing? Yeah, I can go. There's my video too. Hi, everybody. Hi, Judy. I just this scholarship has meant the world to me. And being able to do everything that I wanted to do in college, you know, I could live on campus. I could do everything that I wanted to do. And a lot of people our age, they get out and they have like these huge amounts of student debt. And it's really tough, being a teacher, being able to pay all that back when sometimes we're not paid the best. So I don't know that I would have been a teacher and gone that route had I not gotten this amazing scholarship and this amazing opportunity from Judith and from the whole College of Education. It's meant a world of difference in my life. I have a lot of friends, that are my age, just graduated just like me, and there are very few of them with no debt at all. And that's pretty much just thanks to you guys and what you did for me. And it's made my life so much better. So thank you guys. Also, I got to travel around the world, so that was fun too. So I went to Japan and Italy for that, so that was cool. It was a great experience at UT.
Thank you, Chad. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
So I would now like to invite Dean Ray Witte to share some college updates about the College of Education.
Okay.
Ray, I think you're muted.
Okay. Now you can hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Like I said, I'll have the talking points available as a document. So don't feel like you have to record anything. I think it's mostly about just kind of hearing the main ideas and themes that hopefully will come through with these informational bullets. So let me start off by saying, of course, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but as a nation, we're facing one of the most challenging time periods in education. It is one thing to, do the important business of educating the future generations of teachers, but to do it in a pandemic is really amazing. I've never experienced anything like this in my career. I don't think anyone else has either. But despite that, I think we're actually doing a very, very good job. Let me kind of break that down a little bit. Right now, we're in our 5th week of the semester. Our instructional profile, in case you're interested, we're about 37% face-to-face classes. We're about 36 what we call remote, which is synchronous. So obviously the students and the instructor are meeting, but they're meeting online and they meet at a certain time, just like they would in class, only they're not in class. They're in a virtual class. And then we have about 27% online, which is what you would think, asynchronous. And it's when individuals can gain access to that site to do work and submit and so forth. So that's kind of our breakdown of how we're basically working. Of course, the faculty, staff, and students have been amazing. I do want to get to the safety issue because that's obviously first and foremost for us and for the university. The college has followed and continues to follow all health protocols. And I would say we're probably the safest place in the Toledo area, without question. We have a COVID-19 dashboard, which I think is really kind of useful to access, and it's on the main page, both for our website and for the universities. We have, I'd say, very good numbers at this point in time. As of September 15th, and the numbers are not updated every day. You have to kind of wait to get everything in, and then it has to be calculated. We have approximately 38 new positive cases, and we have right now 6 students that are in the residence hall. Carter Hall is our quarantine hall, so they're being monitored for that time period, whether they're symptomatic or they've been exposed. So, of course, these numbers change each week. I think the week before we had 61 cases, but the trend is good. And we are now doing what's called asymptomatic testing. So you probably have heard about that in the news. And we're doing our samples now. I know they're not where they want to be in the sense of a total number yet to generate the infection rate, but just to give you a sense, I think last week they had about 300 to 400 participants that they accumulated in this sample, and only 4 tested positive when they did this random selection. So the infection rate's about 1.5 or somewhere around there. So that's usually, that's obviously very good. And they'll monitor that carefully because they need to basically form a baseline and then judge progress over time, because this is going to ebb and flow, as you've seen probably in the news, depending on the region of the country. And it's important to kind of get your numbers and know where you're at and whether you're increasing or decreasing. And we need to know our numbers for the university. So in short, we're doing a very good job. The faculty are doing an excellent job keeping everything clean. So is the cleaning staff. Students are wearing their masks. They're socially distancing. They're doing all the right stuff. So that's, I think, the important message to hear. Shifting a little bit, we had, as you probably know, a budget shutdown and give back last year, which was challenging for us as well as all the other colleges on campus. Despite that, we were able to acquire 3 key hires for the college. I would just like to mention briefly those 3. First of all, Dr. Natasha Johnson was hired for the tenure track science education position, and she started this August, and she's wonderful, and we're so happy to have her. Dr. Michael Tolan was hired as the first director of the Herb Innovation Center. He actually started in June, and he's a wonderful addition as well. So we're obviously extremely happy to have him. And one person on the call, Ms. Colleen Lazar, was hired as and I want you to hear this, full-time development director for the college. We have not had that distinction to my knowledge. Now, she also started in June, and of course, she's been doing a wonderful job, and she's going to make me, and has already made me look good in regards to a lot of ideas and things that we need to pursue for the college. And this will be, donor connection relationships is going to be a major priority for me. It's something I have not been able to do a lot of because, unfortunately, other things have taken my time. But I'm sure with Colleen's help, we'll make this much more robust. So I thank her for her being here. Also, I'm happy to announce that Dr. Susanna Hapgood was appointed as the Dasso Herb Endowed Chair. That was just very recent. This is a 3-year cycle, and the financial support will help her with her research on families, STEAM initiatives, and project-based learning. So we were very happy to really get that together. And once again, Susanna will be doing an excellent job, as she has always. And now she has a little bit more help to do the very things that she loves to do. Let's see, a little bit of factual information. We have 60 education-based scholarships that totaled $377,000 that were awarded to the students in education during the 1920 fiscal year. So that's obviously a huge amount. That matters because, as you know, many of our students do not have the financial means by which to pursue their careers. So all that support really goes into making sure that they can obviously cover their costs. And once again, a very robust amount, and we're happy to be able to say that we can provide that kind of help for our students. Just for your information, for the academic year 2020, the college generated just under $2 million in research support. That's an area I want to increase. Michael and I have talked about that. My hope would be to certainly double that amount within the next 5 years. I think we're positioned to be able to do just that. And we're looking forward to the opportunities that might bring. Our enrollment for 2020-21 is down. That's probably no surprise. We're about 33 full-time students lower than we would be. I think the breakdown was about 23 undergraduates and 10 or so graduate students. But given the extraordinary conditions of the pandemic, I think the deficit could have been much worse. Unfortunately, some of my colleagues in other colleges have had losses in the triple digits. So this has certainly affected higher education, and it's just not us, it's across the nation. But all in all, I would say we did as well as we could in regards to attracting high quality students and making them feel welcome within the college. So we will continue to work on that, and we're hoping that we can eliminate that deficit next year. Regarding next year, or actually this year, I'm just hoping for a stable budget forecast and no financial glitches, which I'm feeling much better about. In the spring, the picture was much more complex, and we thought it was going to be tougher than it was. Thankfully, the state helped us out, and so did the federal government, and that's huge for us. We're still not out of the woods. We have a lot of things we have to do, and we have to do them very smart. But it's looking much better than what it was in April and May for sure. Regarding enrollment, we continue to focus our efforts in Ohio and Michigan. However, I want us to extend out to other states. I won't go into a lot of detail to bore you. The quick, shorter version is that we do need to reach out to more states because there are fewer graduates graduating from Ohio and Michigan. And actually, I think we probably have markets in these other states, and I want to pursue those. So we will do just that, and hopefully kind of start drawing new student sources from high schools from Indiana, Western Pennsylvania. We'd like to connect in Illinois. And actually, I think there's some opportunity from my old area in kind of like the Southern Ohio, Northern Kentucky region. We are especially interested in attracting students of color into the field of teaching. That is a huge priority. Unfortunately, the numbers in the state have declined, and we need to reverse that trend. And that's why I'm really excited about the idea of trying to push for need-based scholarships. I'm calling it Graduate Without Debt, where hopefully we can incorporate the giving circles that Colleen is already working on, and develop hopefully a fairly strong support base, so that and I'm just sharing this for the first time. My hope is that we could hopefully get a deserving senior and future teacher from the local high schools in the greater Toledo area. I think that's a key aspect. I mean, we're fortunate to have students from all over the country, and obviously that was very evident just a few moments ago. But I think it's important to really work and facilitate students within, in essence, our own backyard. So I'm hopeful that that will be the case, and we're going to continue to work on that possibility. Let's see. As a college, we have scheduled a series of 6 meetings involving faculty, staff, and students to discuss and examine systematic racial injustice, diversity, and inclusion. And we're moving along in that process. I'm happy to report that we've had our first meeting, and the next one will be scheduled for October 30th. What's nice about this series of meetings is that it's a collaborative project between the Dean's Office and students, a student group. We're actually facilitating the process together, and we will have students present at least one or more of the meetings as we go through the year. And I see that as a really important and positive contribution to the overall conversation. So it's been a privilege working with and connecting with these students. They're passionate, they're dedicated, and they really want to make, I think, important and significant change. And I am all on board with that. So I'll share more as we go through that. Those meetings will be recorded and I believe available for review. I guess in essence, stay tuned for that. We also have a reach out program within the college where the faculty and staff are receiving personal messages of support and contact through the year. We just don't want individuals to feel somewhat isolated. I know that's normal, or I should say that's the new normal because of everything that's virtual. But it's really important that we stay connected and let each other know that we support them and value their contributions. So I think that's important. We need to make sure all the faculty and staff are solid because they need to be solid for their students. And of course, they'll be doing the same thing with their students, reaching out and making sure that everything is hopefully working as well as possible. I have a few other short notifications, wonderful announcements, if you will. One of our students, Ms. Terry Draper, is the 2020 recipient of the Benjamin Gillum International Scholarship. This is wonderful. She'll be studying in Spain during the summer of 2021. How exciting is that? She's in adolescent and young adult education, so we couldn't be happier with that. Dr. Kumar was selected as a fellow of the American Psychological Association. That is a highly prestigious award. It's really kind of a lifetime award, so to speak. So that just speaks so highly of her and her work. Dr. Denyer was appointed as the chair of the Department of Teacher Education, and she's done an outstanding job and continues to work on a number of initiatives that we have already set up. Dr. Bob Schultz is now the interim director of the Office of Undergraduate Research and Office of Competitive Fellowships within the Honors College. So we're very happy for Bob because I know he's got administrative interests, and this is a wonderful way for him to start moving in that direction. Dr. Sujana Sancheva-Durst was promoted to full professor. Dr. Kate Delaney was promoted to associate professor status. Our own famous Dr. Sammy Spann was selected as the Judith Herb College of Education Distinguished Alumnus for 2020. I know we're not officially doing anything this year, but he will, I think, be recognized both this year and I think officially next year when hopefully we get closer to what we used to do before. A little bit of business that may not seem that exciting, but it's a big deal. We created an MOU, that's a Memorandum of Understanding. It's basically kind of an academic contract between ourselves and Yanshan University. What's so nice about this is a dual master's program. So we will have probably 10 or more full-time graduate students coming from China to come into basically one of two master's programs where they will pick up their master's here, and then they'll complete their master's in China once they return back. So this is a significant move for us, and we're excited about the possibilities of what this will bring. We did get a little bit of a technology upgrade. Gillum 3100C, which is a fairly used conference room, has been fully upgraded on the technology. And we did get instructor station upgrades throughout the building. So that was great. And Josh has done a great job, and Aaron has done a great job getting that all together. So not that you can sometimes go into the classrooms, but knowing that the technology is there and is working effectively matters, especially when everything or a lot of instruction has gone virtual. The college received a gift payment of $150,000 from Mrs. Herb for the Herb Innovation Center operating budget, and that was done or set up in August and is matriculating through now. So once again, thank you, Judy. That was obviously monumental in getting the center up and running. And of course, as you know, Michael has hit the ground running, so it is obviously working very well. And then finally, and I apologize for running on, but just one other item. And this is, I think, an important one to recognize. The college has 20 Quality Matters certified online courses. The only other college that has more is HHS, and our number represents about 19% of the total QM courses for the entire university. So I guess I mentioned that because we're just not doing online instruction. We're doing high quality online instruction, which isn't always the case, as you may know. So that's a tribute to our faculty, their work and dedication, and we do it well. We prefer to do it face-to-face, but if we can't do it, we do it well virtually. And those are basically kind of the items I wanted to share. So I guess now we're at our Q&A point. Is that correct, Sam?
That is correct. So there are a few different options, and what I would like to do for all of our participants on the call is I'm going to begin by giving everyone privileges to unmute. Right now, everyone is muted and does not have access to turn on their video, but I'm going to go ahead and allow everyone to do that. So if you feel that you want to turn on your video or unmute to ask a question, please feel free to do so. But as I go through and do that, I do want to read a question that came through Dean Witte. There was a question that came through at the beginning, so I will ask this as I start to give everyone their privileges back. Sure. But would you mind sharing what your vision for the College of Education is?
Absolutely. I think what we need to be is the definitive regional institution for both undergraduate and graduate preparation for educators. We have an extremely unique situation where we can provide high quality instruction for all undergraduate licensure teacher programs. And just as importantly, we have the capability of them helping those teachers as they move along in their careers with higher graduate requirements, be it master's, specialist degrees, or even a doctorate if so desired. So we're actually, I think, the only institution that is positioned in such a way that we can take an educator literally through their entire professional career, from the very beginning to their eventual retirement. And that's what we need to be. That's what we need to be known to do. And I think because we can provide that personal connection, I mean, our students are taught by full-time faculty. We're not talking about extreme numbers of part-time and adjunct individuals. And those individuals are wonderful, don't get me wrong. But students need to be connected with the faculty within their program who are either research active or are completely immersed in their field and have a tremendously high practitioner value that our students can take advantage of. So I want us to continue to move in that direction. Are we there yet? No. Do I want higher enrollment numbers so we can be robust in regards to that? Absolutely. But I want us to be balanced, and that balance is obviously the undergraduate opportunities combined with the graduate opportunities. So that's really my kind of vision for the college, wrapped around really providing high quality instruction, a sensitivity to all learners, what has to happen within the classroom. I would even push for the notion that we need to pay attention to kind of the traditional content learning, but also the psychological and emotional aspect, if you will, the mental health aspect to that, because we're just not someone who just drops, into a classroom or a person. We have feelings and concerns and issues. So having our teachers aware of that whole instructional process, both inside and outside the classroom, is what I would like us to be known for, so that when someone's out in the field, they can point to that individual and say, that's a Judith Herb College of Education graduate. I can tell because this individual is focused on these kinds of aspects.
Thank you. So I do want to let everyone know that you do have access to your video and to unmute if you choose to do so. You can also use the chat box or the Q&A box if you want to type in any questions for the dean, or if you just have any general questions or want to say hi, please use those features if you would like to do so. Judy, I think you can see some of us now. I hope can you see? Oh, I'm going to unmute you. You're muted. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read another question that came through. What steps are being taken to better integrate experiential learning into both the curriculum, but also helping future teachers better engage in experiential education in the classroom?
That's a great question. That's actually one of our major hallmarks in all of our programs, actually. We feel that it's critical for our students to be out in the field as much as humanly possible. Some of our programs actually have almost 2 full years of what I would consider in the field work. Actually, what's pretty amazing is our intro class, Intro to Education, actually has 10 hours of field placement requirement embedded within it. Now, granted, we've had to make some adjustments given the reality of the pandemic, but even with that, we have still made some progress in getting some of our students out into the field. So it's a high priority. It's something we believe in. We like the notion of giving students content, understanding, and working on skill development in the classroom, but then sharing and really refining that out in the field. And we are very fortunate to really have wonderful PK-12 colleagues and districts that help and support us. So that could not happen if we didn't have that kind of relationship. And I would say, without question, the level of professionalism across those school districts is just amazing. So this all happens because we have this collaborative agreement and understanding. So it is definitely a focus. It's something we continue to work on. And it'll just be part of who we are as we move our students through the programs. And happy to have that. So once again, good question.
Thank you. I do want to point out those of you that have access to videos, and I'm going to put you on the spot, but it looks like we have a future rocket. I see, a future rocket. I think we have on the call, so thank you for joining us.
Well, that would be the hope, right, Sam?
Right?
Well, she could be.
We're close to home, Sam, just like you.
We'll make her early admit. How about that?
I know, yeah. Can you say hi, Henley?
Hi. So we did have a question come through from Tom Brady. What are we doing specifically to train urban teachers?
Well, Dr. Brady knows a lot about that because part of one of his major initiatives with the Brady Partnership Schools is that we are trying to really develop a cohort orientation to have students who especially want and desire a urban experience to really be able to have that as early on in their career as possible. And what's interesting about this is the fact that this is combining school experience with, in some cases, after school or community experiences, everything from Boys and Girls Club to the Y to other kind of after school opportunities that become very important for all students, but especially for those students who may not have the kind of resources that others might have and need in order to really continue to pursue a high level of academic achievement in their school district. So we're fortunate to be able to offer that option and to be able to do that. The other thing that I'd like to indicate is for enrollment and recruitment, we really do try to pursue as many students of color as possible, because once again, it's vital that students be able to see teachers as someone that they can relate to very easily, and that's very important for certainly everyone. And that's why I think, going back to my earlier comment, we need to have mechanisms in place where we can attract good students who have that teaching passion, and hopefully with some additional support, we will be able to create those kinds of, that graduate without debt notion, which would be critically important for, I think, potentially students of color or first-generation students just because usually the resources are just not there to allow this to happen. And as someone who's been there, you can't imagine, you think, well, all you need is $500 and you can kind of get this done. Well, that's like asking for the moon. You're lucky you have, $5, much less 500, and that $5 is going to go to something else. So we're just trying to eliminate the financial obstacle that some of these students would encounter. So I think we can do a lot more. I want us to do a lot more, and we need to kind of advertise that to a much greater extent. So, Tom, I don't know if that answers your question, but it's the best I can do at the moment.
It's a good answer.
Well, if Dr. Brady says it's a good answer, I'm going to take that to the bank.
So Dean Witte, can I jump in here and add something to what you've just said?
Absolutely, Dr. Denyer.
So along with the work of the Brady initiative, I would also say that with the wonderful assistance from Judy Herb, our licensure and master's program for middle grades and AYA students has been developing a curriculum for teacher preparation for work in urban schools over the last 5 years. And as that work has continued from a small kernel with Judy's help, it has grown considerably to the point where we are now making major revisions in our one-year licensure and master's program along the lines specifically of how do we better prepare teachers for work in urban schools with diverse students. So we've kind of got these parallel tracks, I think, going with the early childhood folks and then also with our undergraduate, or not undergraduate, but our master's students who are working with middle grades and secondary students. So it's pretty exciting work, actually.
Thank you. Dean Witte, there's a couple additional questions that came in through the chat box.
Yeah, I see that.
I'll let you, do you want to touch on Teach Toledo, or there's another question from Nicole? Can you see those?
I just saw Nicole's. That's the only one I see right now. So perhaps I'll just respond to that one right now, and then I'll try to deal with the other question in a moment.
Yeah.
Yes, Nicole, you're correct. There is really a focus as much as possible for a full inclusion notion. In fact, I come from a background where, Gen Ed is just what it should be. It's for everyone. Now, realizing that there are some limitations and adjustments that need to be made, especially depending on the severity or the needs of the individual. But as much as possible, it is critical to have that education occur in as much as we can within the general ed setting. I would like our focus to be much greater on that, and that's continuing conversation that we need to have in the college. We're not where I would like us to be, but I think we're having and will continue to have more conversation about how both Gen Ed and Special Ed work together and need to work together. And the fact is that hopefully the majority of students could and would benefit from the general educational classroom with modifications and adjustments that are needed occurring, much like you would have a floating teacher within the classroom, certainly adjusting and helping those students as they go along. So it is a concept that we are familiar with. It is an understanding that our teachers are becoming comfortable with, in the sense that, sometimes individuals get into teaching because they love reading and they love math. And that's great, but they are not always aware of the fact that they are going to have to deal and teach on a wide range and really modify and adjust to a great extent what happens for, one individual versus another. So that's, I think, the message that needs to come through in all of our programs, and that's what we're trying to really have both good conversation about, as well as, okay, how do we take that conversation and make that real in the sense of the curriculum and the coursework that our students then get, so that they feel, quote unquote, as comfortable as possible dealing with the variety of students that they have. I'm pretty consistent in telling individuals, and you all probably know this, but for those who don't, in any regular classroom, say we take a normal third grade classroom, in any regular third grade classroom, there will be a 2-grade variance in the students who are not identified in any way. So you will have a reading range of anywhere from potentially first grade, late first grade, to upwards to the 5th grade in just that normal span for those typical students walking through and going into that classroom. Now add to that individuals who might have some issues with attention, or they need different kinds of aspects in how they're taught reading or math or both. And that could be, you know, a 504 kind of situation, or it could be someone who actually is receiving special services through an identification. So that obviously just expands that options and realizing that we have to adjust to a much, probably a much greater degree. But what's important for, I think, all of our teachers to understand is you are going to be dealing with individuals that are just going to vary by the very nature of who they are. And that's the nature of and the challenge with teaching. Now, having them confident with that, giving them the tools to really make that effective and giving them that experience, that's why we're in the position that we're in, and that's what we try to do to the greatest extent possible, so they feel able to do that job. And as I've told everyone, I don't know a more challenging job than being a teacher. I really don't. I understand and appreciate very much my colleagues in medicine and so forth, but they have a pretty consistent routine. They know exactly usually what they're going to get. Education is wide open, and you have to be very talented in a lot of different areas, be able to pivot in a moment's notice, and kind of be as fantastic an educator as you are a psychologist, because you have to really understand the dynamics and issues. So it's exciting and terrifying at the same time, but welcome to education. That's no surprise. So hopefully that's a fairly good response. And Sam, what was the other question that was there?
So I'm going to connect you with Tom Brady after our conversation today. He had a couple of questions about the Teach Toledo program, so I will connect the two of you if that's okay, Tom. And I will note that Tom wanted me to let Judy know that she's got herself a ride in the convertible for the homecoming parade if we have one. So fingers crossed that we might just have to shut a street down. I'm sure we have that kind of power. If there's no homecoming parade, we could just collect our cars and drive around together. But for timing purposes, I will let everyone know if you do have any additional questions for the dean, or are curious about different programs or departments within the college, please feel free to reach out to myself, or send us your email, or type something into the chat box, and we'll make sure that we connect those questions and comments to the dean and follow up with some answers or some links to different programs, or at least connect you to the information that you're interested in. But to stay on time, I would like to open it up very quickly to Colleen, who is our Director of Development for the College of Education. Oh, Colleen, I can't hear you.
Samantha, while you're waiting to get Colleen in, could I interject something? I'm Linda Murphy.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, how you doing? Have you gotten her connected, or can I just make a couple comments?
Go right ahead.
Well, first of all, Dean Lydia, it's nice to shake hands virtually with you, and I hope that maybe sometime we can meet in person and share war stories.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say, Judy, it's just great to see and hear you again. It's been so many years. Over the years, we've met at various functions and that sort of thing, and I remember the start of your scholarships, and to know that they're still continuing is phenomenal. My only comment is, and it isn't really a question, is that this pandemic may be a lesson for our students that we ought to take advantage of, because they are finding out what it is to really adapt. And that's what teachers always have to do is to be able to adapt to circumstances. And so while this pandemic has been horrible for all of us, nonetheless, it has also taught us how to adapt to things, hence a meeting like this. So anyhow, just thanks for including your alumni and previous members of the faculty.
Thank you for tuning in, Linda.
Yeah, Linda, well said. Well said.
Colleen, do you want to give it one more try? I don't know sign language, but
Samantha, hi, Samantha. This is Tom Hostler. I'm a UT alum and superintendent at Perrysburg Schools.
Hello.
Thank you for putting this together. And I just wanted to say from the field, Dean Witte has been very accessible. It's my 20th year as a superintendent, the 14th in Perrysburg. And it's been great as a UT alum to see Dean Witte engage in the field like he has throughout the pandemic. And I know that was just a conversation that came up. We've had a group of superintendents in Northwest Ohio that have participated in a weekly call. We've had over 50 superintendents, and Dean Witte has attended every one of those, taking the time to do that. He also connected us with a UTMC specialist in an infectious disease who has been a valuable resource in the field. So it's wonderful to see UT's presence, but certainly his ability to engage and initiate has really taken the college in places that it hasn't been before. So I just wanted to thank the dean for his leadership and just share with everybody from the field what it means to have the college invest in local conversations, maybe like we haven't seen before. And certainly we appreciate the time that he's taken to make that possible. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Tom. I have to ask, are you driving around in your convertible?
I am. I'm actually working today. So we have a cross-country invitational at Ottawa Park. So I just snuck out in my car because there's a little bit of wind. And yes, I do have the convertible, although it's a little chilly for the top down today.
Well, Tom, I have to say that I was distracted during parts of the presentation because I kept checking on you when you turned on your camera to make sure that you're okay while you were driving.
I'm parked, so I know better than that. So yeah. So over here at Ottawa Park, you never know what's going to happen behind. So I'm kind of a little nervous behind me, but so far so good.
Well, thank you for joining us. Colleen, I apologize that we're unable to hear you, but she has some really great information and a short introduction about herself and was going to share a little bit about scholarships. So what I would like to do is I will connect with her after today's event and make sure that we get you some information via email. And if you have any questions about how to support student scholarships within the college, she'll have her contact information in there, and she's been a great resource. So we'll be sure to get you her contact information and her notes as to what she was hoping to share with all of you. And I will also mention, I apologize, those of you that were here in the beginning, we had an absolutely fantastic video that highlights Judy and her support of the college and a little bit about her story. I will share that via email as well with all of you because I think it's really fantastic. And Judy will make sure, if you haven't seen it already, it's wonderful. So I will get you all an electronic version of that because I'm not really confident in my abilities to make that happen right now. But Dean Witte, I'm going to let you wrap it up for us, if that's okay.
Absolutely. I know we're a little over, so thank you for staying on the call. Once again, thank you for participating. It's always great to have conversation. I think we all learn a lot when we do that, and I think this format will allow us to do that. I probably talked too much and probably should have listened more, so maybe in the future we can do some of that. Speaking of which, we would love to have your feedback. I think there's a feedback form that can be filled out, but if you feel comfortable or don't feel comfortable doing that and you just want to send us some information via email about what you liked and so forth, that would be great, especially since we want to see if this is a format that works well It's meeting hopefully your needs, and we want to make ourselves accessible as much as possible. And like it or not, this is the virtual format that we live in at this time period. So hopefully we'll be able to do this and still be connecting until we get our vaccinations, and hopefully all those good things will happen in a timely manner. So I want you all to stay well, take care of yourselves, and I'm only an email away. So if you ever have any thoughts, please send them our way, and we will definitely entertain them. So Sam, is there anything else that we need to cover?
I think that's it. Thank you everyone so much for taking time out of your Saturday morning to join us. Special thanks to Judy for joining us and our scholarship recipients. It was really a pleasure to see all of you. I wish I had my coffee mug to take a drink out of, but I left it in the other room and then started the event. So next time I'll be more prepared. But to kind of mirror what Dean Witte mentioned, we want to hear your feedback, and we want to provide you with the information that you're interested in. So please feel free to reach out and let us know how we can stay connected with you. You will get a little pop-up survey once we end the event today that will ask you, what type of virtual content, how often you want to be communicated with, and that's really going to help us stay connected. So please feel free to reach out. And again, thank you for joining us. Keep an eye out from an email update. We did record today's program, so you'll have access to see that on demand, including Judy's video. And hopefully we can see everyone again in person very, very soon.
Yes.
So thank you.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thanks again, everyone.
Come on, quick.